Hey there, and welcome to Zoom Into Books, the video edition from the American Library Association's annual conference. We're in the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, talking to great authors, including award-winning author Wayne Olivieri. The book is The Undiscovered Showman. It's your story. You wrote it, you lived it. Welcome.
Thanks, Burke. How are you?
I am great, and I have to start by asking you your most memorable on-stage moment, because that's you on the cover of that book, microphone in hand,
Yes.
rocking out. So most memorable on-stage moment.
One of the most memorable, I guess, would be on stage with Jon Bon Jovi and Bruce Springsteen together in the front line singing.
Both of them at the same time?
Yeah. One to my left, one to my right.
Where was this and when was
That was
this?
in a place called the Stone Pony in Asbury Park. It was a night to remember.
Now that's a legendary nightclub in New Jersey, and you are a legendary New Jersey musician who's been knocking on the door of rock and roll stardom for decades now.
My knuckles are white. It's been tough, but that story is in the book with lots more stories like that. Coming up the ladder, what it's like to. I was very good friends with Jon Bon Jovi for about 17 years. I knew him before he was famous. I knew him while he was famous, and even beyond when he became super famous. So a lot of stories in the book about that, and a lot of stories about the Stone Pony, legendary nightclub, like you said, and about New Jersey club scene, the music business, the do's and the don'ts. A lot of advice in the book for youngers coming up the ladder, the rock and roll ladder, little things not to do and what you should do, and who you can trust, who you can't trust. A lot of cool stuff.
You learned the hard way.
I did. Got a couple of knives still in my back, but you live and you learn.
So looking back on this long life that you've had in the music business, long career, there are those fortunate few, like Bruce Springsteen and Jon Bon Jovi, who swing for the fences and they hit the home run. There are tens of thousands of folks like you who have had a successful career but haven't been able to quite get the brass ring and have 6 houses and a dozen cars and all that. When you look back on the time that you put into it, do you wish you would have become an accountant or a lawyer or had a 9-to-5? Or are you happy with your life choice?
Totally happy, 100%. Wouldn't change a thing. I never had anything except, which is in the book, about what you need in order to achieve that. Even though you don't achieve it, but if you don't have that drive and that want and that sort of tunnel vision of, it didn't matter. I mean, I worked because they had to pay the mortgage and stuff, but I didn't really care about any jobs in particular, and music was my love and my life. So I would say the answer to that question is no, and I totally don't regret anything.
What do you think people that are not in the music industry, not in the music business, get wrong about the music business?
That's a good question. First of all, I think they don't get that it's not easy as they might think it is. And I don't think, like you said, I don't think they realize how many people struggle and the struggles of such people to get to where they are or not to get to where they are. And all the thousands and thousands of people that are out there trying and drop off along the way, but the few that stick to it maybe get here or maybe get here or maybe get Ryan and have a lifetime of memories. And you don't grab the golden ring, like you said, but you know what? I don't regret anything. I'm doing okay. Right now, you're at this point, it's in your heart. You're doing it for the love of the music, not the monetary reward.
So we talked about that really memorable time that you shared a mic with Springsteen and Bon Jovi, shared the stage. You're right there. Let's talk about a tough time. Maybe it's a funny story now, but at the time when you lived it, not so much.
Yeah, it's in the book. There's one in particular where we had a showcase type thing where we were going to open up for a band that had all the record companies from Atlantic, Columbia, and a few other record companies, all the executives. Bruce Springsteen was in the audience. We had the opportunity to open up the show.
Okay.
And this
could be huge.
This could have been the big break that we were waiting for a long time. And we had a guitar player who wrote the songs with me, and he was an essential part of the band. Without him, we couldn't go on.
Right.
Well, turns out We were waiting for him, never showed up. Turns out he was in the parking lot, had a panic attack, stage fright, and went home. And we never got to do the show. That was a hard one to swallow. Needless to say, we didn't speak after that so
I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
That's like having the rug jerked out from under you.
It really was.
You know, you're at the altar and the bride splits.
It's exactly what it was like. It's exactly what it's like. Being at the altar and getting left at the altar.
You're a New Jersey guy. And I may have told you this story off camera, but I have a friend in Los Angeles who's a touring musician, has toured with John Fogerty for years, but grew up in New Jersey. And I mentioned, hey, I know Wayne Olivieri. Oh, Wayne Olivieri. You're a big deal in New Jersey. You are Jersey famous.
Hey, thanks.
What is it about that state that has fostered so much incredible music of all genres?
Yeah.
What do you think?
You know, that's a good question. I was listening to the radio the other day. One of our stations in Jersey, they always pick a subject. And the subject was, name somebody famous from New Jersey. And all of a sudden, all these names are like Frank Sinatra, Jerry Lewis, Whitney Houston, Jack Nicholson, Jon Bon Jovi, Bruce Springsteen. And you start wondering, is it in the water?
Right.
I don't know. But maybe it's because of the closeness to New York City. Could be something. But you're right. There's something about Jersey. I don't know what it's like. How you doing? The Sopranos. I mean, I don't know what it is, but yeah, Jersey. If you're Jersey, are you from Jersey? I'm from Jersey. You know, it's like it's a connection, and I really don't have the answer to that. But you're right. There is something special about it.
There's a great story in the book about when you were a young musician, probably barely in your 20s, and you played the legendary club CBGBs with some other bands that we all know, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame bands. So tell us that story.
Basically, we lived in Jersey about 35 minutes as the crow flies to New York City.
Right.
And I went in, we were doing originals, I was like 17, and we needed someplace to play. CBGB's was one of those clubs in New York that we were trying to get into. So I went there, I walked in, this guy with a beard comes walking out. I thought he was a bum. He was the owner, Hilly Crystal. And I told him I had a band. He goes, "Come on back on Monday. That's audition night." So we went to audition night, and along with us, first time in auditioning was the Ramones, the Talking Heads, and Blondie.
Unbelievable.
All together. And then from that moment on, we were regular at CBGB's and played with all those people and watched them get famous throughout the years or two.
Did you have a huge crush on Debbie Harry, like every other young man in America at that time?
She was really beautiful and very nice. I got to know Debbie a little bit.
So those three bands, if you're not a music fan, you may not know, but they're all pivotal, all very different.
Yeah.
So the Ramones, the Talking Heads, and Blondie, did you see them and say, this one's going to make it, this one no chance? Did you have it all gamed out?
No. I actually thought the Talking Heads were horrible musicians. The first time we saw them, we were laughing at them. I mean, they were playing out of tune. What's his name? The singer?
David Byrne?
David Byrne. Very strange guy at the time. Really strange. I mean, first time, if you see him for the first... And they weren't a good band, technically speaking.
Right.
That band, I had no idea. The Ramones, they were just weird and bizarre and loud as heck. Like, unbelievable. There was something to them that I thought was... You could tell by the crowd that they pulled that was the beginning of punk. We didn't know what punk was. We were right in the heart of it. And Deborah Harry out of the three, I would say that's the one that I would say probably had a better shot than anybody because she was cute, she was sexy, and the songs were good. But Talking Heads, no way. But there you go.
You may have lost that bet, my friend.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Speaking of losing, young musicians who might be watching right now, give them one piece of advice. What's the one thing you would say to someone young about the music business? Where would you guide them? What would you tell them to do?
I would say get management. Don't be a hothead. Don't let your ego take over. Get somebody, because it is the music business, and especially young kids coming up, which I was, and I didn't realize that I thought I knew everything. I didn't need anybody telling me what to do. Seek out somebody who's in the business side of it that if you really, really, really want to get somewhere, you got to have a business savvy, not just partying all the time. It's not only music; it's the music business, and leave the business to a professional.
And let them take care of business, and you take care of the music.
But you got to watch your contracts. Get a lawyer.
That's right.
Yeah, always get a lawyer. Don't sign anything without a lawyer.
Read it all.
That's right.
The Undiscovered Showman, a true story of being almost famous. Wayne Olivieri, thanks for being here.
Burke, thank you, man. You're the best.
My pleasure. That's Wayne Olivieri at
Bye,
the
everybody.
American Library Association Conference in the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia. For Headline Books, I'm Burke Allen. Thanks for watching.